for joining. Let's do some movement, get ourselves set up for today, and we're going to focus on our qigong moves. So we do a nice gentle start to the day, to the morning. Let's just jump on the other camera. Find your comfortable space, and that other camera has just gone completely black. Why has that happened? Find your comfortable standing space, and I will just fix that other camera. And take your feet about hip width apart. There we go, it's all right. And a little bit of bend in the knees, softness in the knees, and we'll just start off by knocking. So we're rooted to the ground through the feet, and we're moving from the center, from the hips and the waist. Our spine is long. And get that idea of just lifting and lengthening from the crown of the head. And the idea is that we are creating a central rotational axis from the crown, almost like through the center line of the body, so that the spine just rotates easily around that axis. Breathing just nice and soft and easy through the nose. Not forcing or pushing anything. Elbows just bending naturally. And you're just tapping lower back and belly. Shoulders relaxed. Upper back relaxed. Remembering why we're doing this movement from a biomechanical point of view is just to get some movement, particularly through the spine, and rotation through the spine. And then just gradually slow it down. Slow it down. And almost go into slow motion. So it's like you're just running your hands, fingers through water. So there's a little bit of resistance to the movement now. The arms. And then come to a stop. And just walk your feet in for a moment, just balance. Always nice to have that moment where you can just stand and feel tall and grounded. Step back out. We'll do the same thing but slightly different in that as you rotate, you're going to lift the opposite heel off the ground. So if I'm mirroring you, that left heel is lifting off the ground. So as you rotate, we're just now shifting the weight ever so subtly from one side to the other. So we're just letting that opposite heel just peel off the ground. So having an awareness of the bubbling spring or the ball of the foot on that opposite foot to the way you are rotating. Same thing, lifting and lengthening the spine. Same thing, just breathing easy. And what you may notice is you can rotate a little bit further now. So you tend to be looking a little bit further to each side. Breathing easy. Nice. Gradually slow this down again and just bring the feet in contact with the ground. Slow it down. And take a moment again just to balance. And then step back out. This time we're going to go a little bit wider. So go maybe a shoulder and a half width apart. So a comfortable width, not overreaching anything. And let's just start with the movement, just sliding the hips parallel to the ground. Shoulders stay over the hips. So we're just shifting the weight side to side. Make sure the pelvis stays parallel to the ground and square to the front. So we're not getting any rotation like this or dropping the hips side to side like this. Hips glide. So you notice this leg goes straight. This knee bends a little bit and goes over that toe there. And then same thing, keep low. That knee goes over the toe there. This leg goes straight. We're not locking out, we're just keeping a straight leg. And the shoulders stay over the pelvis. So just get that movement going. And if you feel you need a little bit wider stance and you're comfortable with a wider stance and a little bit lower, that's good. If you want to come a little bit shorter stance, but not too short, because otherwise we end up doing this. We end up doing like this hip circle thing, which is great, but we're not doing that particular movement. So comfortable wide stance, pelvis glides, keeps level with the ground, keeps parallel with the ground, keeps square to the front. Shoulders sit on top of that. Get that movement going first. And then when you're comfortable with that, you can bring in that little bit of rotation, just nice and gently rotating that upper body. Take it easy, no strain. Tapping. And then slow it down. And walking your feet back into center. And then taking your moment to balance. So that's just 3 variations, if you like, of our spine rotation. So you can play around with those. Step back out. Let's do our spinal cord breathing. So just to really emphasize how we're doing this from a purely biomechanical point of view, we're bending, I'll show you from the side, you can keep watching from the front. We're bending the knees a little bit more. Let's just work on the pelvis first. So you tuck the pelvis under, so that tailbone tucks under. And then you just bring the tailbone, so the tailbone's pointing up a little bit. So you just create that little natural curve in the back there. What I don't want you to do is compress. I don't want you to squeeze and compress that lower back there. Just get the tailbone tucking under, so you're lengthening the back there. And then you're just coming back to a little bit more like a neutral spine, but then creating a little bit more curve. Just get that movement going through the pelvis. Notice that I'm not straightening the legs, because you tend to want to straighten the legs as we come up into this position. So my knees stay bent and I'm just moving, just getting that movement of the pelvis. So it's like imagining if the pelvis was a bowl, you're spilling out the front of the pelvis there, you're spilling out the back of the pelvis here. Just get that movement working through the pelvis. Doesn't have to be a massive movement. Again, remember, we're not straining or forcing anything. Just get that feeling going there. And then stop for a moment. Now, the next thing which is really important when we're working on this upper body is that we want to think about lifting the sternum, and starting anywhere when we're thinking about a back bend is starting from here, from that what we call the thoracic spine, the upper back. So I'm lifting the sternum and opening and extending from the back from here, and I'm looking up. So it's almost like your neck is starting from this position. What can often happen if we tighten the rib cage is the rib cage stays there. We do this, we look up, and then we just compress that lower back. So we almost like move this rib cage as one block. So that's not what we're looking to do. What we're looking to do is extend, open up the rib cage, lift the sternum, and get some movement here in this thoracic spine. Now, this often gets tight, particularly if we're sitting a lot at desks like that. So it doesn't have to be a big movement, but just get that movement through the thoracic spine. And that helps when we bring in that bringing the elbows back and lifting up. So that takes a lot of load or a lot of compression off that lower back when we come into this position. And then when we tuck the pelvis, we fold up into that little, into like a little ball. So we're really rounding the spine there, we're tucking the chin. So let's just go from there to there. And just think of creating different shapes with the body. So I'm creating a curl up in a little ball, and I'm creating a nice expansive open shape. And once you get that fluid movement going, breathing in and then breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And that breath is quiet, it's soft, it's just happening naturally, not forced. Looking up and expanding, and then softening and contracting. It's nice to visualize, just think about the body, the whole body expanding as you breathe in, and then softening, contracting as you breathe out. Every single cell filling with energy as you breathe in. It's exactly what is bringing life into the body. Let's do a couple more like this. Expand, open up. And then take a moment, find your balance, shake out a little bit if you need to shake out. And then another option on that spinal cord breathing, and I'll show you from the side again, is exactly the same here with the pelvis, exactly the same here with the rib cage, the sternum and the thoracic spine, but rather than looking up as we open up and extend, you just lengthen the back of the neck. So it's not quite a chin tuck, it's thinking about lengthening the back of the neck here. So you get that nice length and nice stretch, if you like, through the thoracic spine, back of the neck. So you're just lengthening the back of the neck in this position. And then you're tucking the pelvis, and then you're tucking the chin. So that's the same position there. Here, so it's almost like you're just looking forwards, just lengthening the back of the neck, and then tucking. So just have a little play with that one. And breath is the same. So breath in, still lifting the sternum, breath out. Still getting that expansion through the rib cage. Breath in and breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Just a couple more. Nice. And then take a moment there. So 2 different variations there of that spinal cord breathing. And some days you might feel as if I need to really expand, look up and get that length, get that openness here. Other days you might just want that little bit of an extra length of the back of the neck. So both of those are great to practice. They're all just exaggerations of movements that we make in everyday life as we take a step, as we walk, as we reach, as we run. Let's just do lateral, side to side. So we'll do moving the body like a river, which I think is a really good visualization. We go slightly wider, so we go about a shoulder and a half width apart on our stance. Hips glide back, and we just rest gently on the thighs, not on the knees. So you don't press on the knees, just rest on the thighs, relax the shoulders. Same thing with the pelvis. Let's just slide the pelvis so it stays level with the ground, so it stays parallel with the ground. So it's very similar to what we were doing earlier. Pelvis stays parallel to the ground. There's no rotation side to side with the pelvis at the moment. And the shoulders, the shoulder girdle stays over the pelvic girdle. And then once you get that movement going, then we can start to let that upper body wave. So this is where the hip leads and then the spine follows. And that nice little trick is to look at the opposite foot and get that wave through the spine. So it goes lower back, mid back, upper back and neck. This is a really good one where you'll notice where there's any sticky bits. There's any sticky bits through the spine or through the neck. Shoulders relaxed, breathing easy. And slowing down and just slowly coming back up to standing. Just take your time. Step in, give the body a little bit of a shake. And I'd like to just run through a few qigong moves now. And some of these moves were, I was on retreat last week in Portugal with Linda and Larry. And Larry was teaching mindful movement in the mornings. We were doing some fantastic walking meditations and just some really nice simple qigong moves. So these are some of the qigong moves that we were doing in Portugal that I'd like to share with you. So thanks for Larry again for sharing these moves. We'll start off with our feet together. And then we'll just take a step out to the side. So step to one side. And a move that we've started with before, just opening the flow. So just arms floating up and then back down. And I really want you to bring a sense of ease and effortlessness to these movements. and a sense that the breath is guiding the movement. So as we start that in-breath, that actually initiates that rise and that expansion. And then as we breathe out, our body sinks and softens. So the breath starts the movement, breathing in and breathing out. Remembering that you go at your own comfortable pace. Slowing the breath calms the mind. Slowing the breath tells the body it's safe. And the next move, you just reach down ever so slightly, so the hips glide back a little bit. So it's like you're scooping up from the ground, lifting up, and then arms out to the side. A great one for, again, lengthening the spine, opening up the rib cage. Lifting up the sky. And the breathing pattern, if it is comfortable for you, is as you expand and lift up, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. If that's a struggle with the breath, then just breathe lightly in and out through the nose. So with these movements, you don't want to feel any air hunger, you just want to feel comfortable, effortless breathing, natural breathing. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, feeling the rib cage expand. And the next move now, as you come up to the center, then just push out to the sides and then back to the center and down towards the ground. So coming up, spiral and open. You can stretch the fingers a little bit there, stretch the arms a little bit. Back to center, back down. Using the spine, so that spine extends and opens. The rib cage opens, breathing in breathing out. If this breathing pattern works for you, breath in. Keep that breath in as you expand. And breath out. If that's a challenge with the breathing pattern, just breathe comfortably in and out through the nose. Expanding and softening. Spine extending, head balancing on top of the spine, body softening. Next movement, we're going to separate earth from the sky. So one palm facing down, one palm facing up. And we're going to look in the direction of the lower arm. So just rotate the head to one side. And then swap sides. And then look in the opposite direction. Keep that spine long. So again, we don't want to be craning the neck or forcing the neck. Extend the spine. And just take a glance in that direction. Keep the shoulder down and relaxed, particularly the arm that is raising and connecting to the sky. So shoulder stays down. It's always tempting when we're lifting our arms up to hike the shoulders up. So keep that shoulder down. Feel a stretch, that nice stretch down the side of the ribs. And just breathing easy in and out through the nose. One more to each side. And then finishing just with pulling down the heavens, bringing the hands together, just resting on the lower abdomen, just walking the feet together, just taking a moment to balance, closing your eyes perhaps if that feels comfortable to you, just for a few moments. And then taking a nice full breath in through the nose, satisfying breath in through the nose, opening your eyes, stepping out, giving yourself a little bit of a gentle brush down through the back and the belly. Lovely. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks again to Larry for sharing those movements. Those are some of the movements that we were practicing on our Portuguese retreat the week before last. We are booking for next year, so the dates are on for next year. If you're interested in that, it's the 17th to the 23rd of June next year. So that's my first 2023 retreat already booking. Tomorrow, lots going on this weekend. Tomorrow I've got Karima Jam talking about her adventure up Kilimanjaro. She's another OA coach who did a Oxygen Advantage instructor training with me, and she will share how she used that OA training, the breath holds and everything, to help her and her team climb Kilimanjaro. So that's at 12, no it isn't, it's at 1 o'clock tomorrow, sorry, 1 o'clock tomorrow UK time. That's a free lunch and learn. Saturday we've got Unlock Your Power of Breath. That's at 12 o'clock on Saturday. So if you're free on Saturday, jump into that as well. But if I don't see you this weekend, I will see you next Tuesday, hopefully, for a little bit more focus on the breath work. Thanks for joining. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and see you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you all. Bye. Bye-bye.